Okay, so the first application we're going to create in this lesson is going to illustrate the page processing model. So, like I said, we're going to create a new application. So let's open up Visual Studio and just get rid of that start page. Okay, let's create a new website, File, New Website, and let's choose a name such as Page Processing Demo. Okay, just again remember to make sure that you've selected file system and C#, and remember that it's a website we're creating here, not a web service. Good, let's click OK. So here's our first web page in our website. We'll switch back into design mode and we're going to add various controls. Let's add some controls to enable the user to tell us about their travel plans for this year and for last year. So the first thing we'll do is to add a simple label control. We're not going to worry too much about the aesthetics here. Most of the stuff we're going to cover deals with the programmatic aspects. So there's a label. Just set the label to be a meaningful ID. Let's set it as welcome label. Okay. Now this label is going to contain fixed text. The text will always be the same every time we visit the web page. So the most efficient way to initialize static controls is via the text property for a label. So we'll set the text to be, enter your name and travel details for this year or last year. And just to remind ourselves, if we go into the source view, then Visual Studio has added an ASP label and it set the text property to the value that we just set. Okay, so let's go back into the designer. Now the next thing we're going to add is a text box. So let's add a text box control and I'm just going to put it there for now and we'll worry about line breaks later on. Let's set the ID to be name text box and that's all we need to set for that control. Now let's add a list box. A list box displays items in a list as opposed to a drop-down list which hides and expands as you click on it. We'll go for a list box in this example, so let's drag one of those over. Okay, now as you remember from the previous lesson, when you have controls like list boxes and drop-down lists, this box pops up which enables us to bind the control to a data source if we want to. And again, I'm just going to hide the smart tag, and what we'll do is set the contents of this control via other mechanisms. So we'll set the ID first of all to be country list. Okay. Now if the items in the list are fixed, then again the most efficient way to initialize the contents is via the properties. So we could have clicked on the items, clicked the ellipses and added some static items to the list such as USA and UK. And if we again go back to the source view, then as we saw in the previous lesson, it's added some list items to our collection.